What's going on? This is DJ Luke. Took another break from session work to come to Rush Park here in Citrus Heights and sit down with Richie Ledreagle. What's up?
What's good? Blessings.
Yep, glad to have you on. You've been on my radio show many times,
yes,
and we've done a lot of work over the years on your music and just supporting everything that you do for Indigenous peoples everywhere. Got some specific things to talk about, more recent stuff today.
Beautiful. Gratitude. Thank you for having me. The mission for the Medicine Movement Project is basically to utilize music and community outreach to educate people on the benefits of THC, otherwise known as marijuana, the spiritual benefits, the cultural benefits, the mental health aspect of it, and then economic development as well.
How did this come about? Because you've had businesses and you've had a like an umbrella label or business entity, so this aspect of it came about when?
Maybe about 2 years ago. One of my Indigenous relatives, who's actually a fan of the music, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to do some work with you. Let's go out into the community, do some activism, bring this music, and then bring this medicine to reintroduce the medicine to the people in our community." It was a little taboo for quite some time to even talk about the medicine, but because of the benefits and the scientific proof and you know the economic development that has come from the medicine, you know, is enabled us to actually be able to bring it out to the people.
And of course, being an Indigenous person, reaching to that community, it is parallel to, really a universal more acceptance of THC cannabis products. So, but you're focused in your community, and it's great to see.
Yep, gratitude. Our community actually has been one of the last communities to actually embrace it.
Oh, wow.
and recognize it as medicine. Part of what we're doing with the collaboration with myself, Richie Ledreagle, Indigenous Warrior, and Bohemian Estate, is to actually reintroduce it into our community as medicine. It's been considered a drug for quite some time, but all of the proof now that has come out, and the acceptance from our elders and our community members, I think mostly due to the economic development aspect of it. Money talks.
Yep.
All right, yeah, so the two main entities behind it is Indigenous Warrior and Bohemian Estate. It was formed through a series of conversations with myself and my partner Jay from out in the Sonoma County, Santa Rosa area. We just decided that it was time. It was time for us to not be afraid to talk about it anymore, not be afraid to bring it into our community, and we just wanted to be brave and bold, and bring it out to the community. We feel like it was silenced for so long, although a lot of our elders and a lot of our community members used it in private. A lot of people were afraid to talk about it in public. And so, Indigenous Warrior and Bohemian Estate decided that it was time for us to not be silenced anymore and to talk about it in a healthy way.
Well, and coming from your background as a leader and a person that gets results, when you push a movement or an idea, you've been going strong with it for a few decades. You get results, whether through your music or these efforts. So I see a lot of success coming from it.
Well, gratitude. I appreciate 100%. That. Yep, we're moving forward as expediently and the best way we know how. As far as music, we're bringing the West Coast vibes. Working with DJ Luke for sure, recording the project there at your place. So people should expect some nice, heavy West Coast influences, with the professionalism of your work, the professionalism of Richie Ledreagle, and then the raw talent of my partner Bo, He's bringing some heat. He's bringing some freshness to the project, and I think other than that, what you can expect is a lot of the same stuff that has come with my music. You know, it has a real hardcore West Coast street vibes to it, but it always has a message and a story behind it. You know, and that story is coming from our Indigenous perspective.
Yep, 100%. So even if folks are maybe hearing you for the first time, they hear that sound, that gritty, but then your message is in, and it just draws them in, and they'll hear the message, and then it's a good combination of all elements in the music. And your music has always been strong and purposeful, but the way that we work in the studio and how I make your vocals clean and clear and some little production elements to keep the listener interest, it's going to be a vital part of what you're doing. The music is going to speak to people that rely on music to live their lives.
Yeah, it always has. Actually, what you've brought to my projects to help bring them to life, the professional aspect of everything that you bring, and then, you know, the quickness in which we work, but it still sounds very high quality, professional sound, and I think that was missing in the Indigenous community in regards to hip hop for quite some time.
And I haven't heard a lot of Indigenous music, and especially hip hop realm, but maybe I should tune in and do a comparison, kind of see where you lie in all that. Point out a few artists for me to check out. Just drop some names from me too, not right now, but just in a message, and I'll check them out just to get a feel for where you sit in.
Yep. That's the goal. You know, I think that's a perfect segue into what we're going to be talking about in the next few moments as well. And you know, we just want the opportunity. We want the opportunity to be recognized as top-tier hip-hop artists, not just top-tier Indigenous hip-hop artists.
Yeah.
And what you've brought to my projects has really allowed that to be on the forefront of this movement. The Indigenous Hip Hop Business Association is a collaboration between myself and my partner, Dr. Alan Lechuza, who happens to be the first person ever to get a PhD degree in Native American hip hop. And we're focusing on, you know, the music, of course, but also the business aspect of things and the cultural aspect of things as well. But we're also creating curriculum and academia to introduce into the public school system, K through 14.
Excellent. When did this come about?
The inception of the company actually started, Dr. Alan Lechuza reached out to me. He was writing an article in a journal on Native hip hop artists. After our conversation, he reached back out and asked me if I would manage him. And I said, no, I don't think that's a good fit. But I threw out there a proposal to say, hey, why don't we just work together and create an entity that we could both work on and then introduce that to the people. So the birth of the Indigenous Hip Hop Business Association was actually on tax day. April 15th was the very first day in our, I guess, the conception of the Indigenous Hip Hop Business of this year. Yeah, so it's a very brand new
the seed
entity
that just sprouted, the little green portion's coming out. And
Exactly.
now, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing it bloom into something major. It sounds like it has the foundation to become something bigger than you, bigger than something vital.
Yep, that was the goal. We knew that. It has bloomed, and now it's actually starting to boom as well.
Excellent.
So happy about that.
Nice.
So we just wrote a grant. We partnered. We have a fiscal partner in 501c3 based out of Sacramento, California. We're working on the grant right now. All of the social media, we're building all of that up, of course. IHHBA, or the Indigenous Business Hip Hop Association, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And then we're working on developing a series of events. One of the major events is going to happen in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that's going to be a partnership with my bro Soul Truth and Vegas Vibin'. And we're working on right now. We're currently working on for the month of May, featuring all Indigenous women, and then we're doing a special project this month for Mother's Day, actually.
Excellent.
Well, right now we have a few ways that the community could get involved and support. Of course, go tap into the links, the social media links that I mentioned. Right now we have what is called the virtual graffiti wall, and it's a movement that's called Tag Responsibly. So it's for people to be able to submit their logo, submit their company name, and have that on our website, on our virtual graffiti wall. Also, we have a sponsorship packet. And then if people want to be involved, not only in the social media aspect of things, but in the journal that we're establishing. If there's any companies out there that want to get some ad space into the journal, they want to have an article, we're reaching out to graphic designers, writers, and other people to be involved in the actual journal. So, there's many ways for people to tap in and be involved, but also just by liking our post, and sharing our post. It doesn't cost anything for that to support in that way. And most of all, we're just asking for prayers so that we could sustain this and have longevity in the project.
What do you hope it's going to be sitting the typical 5 years from now? I mean, that's a cliche thing. 5 years from now.
Yep.
What are your hopes?
Well, we do have a 4-year plan, actually.
4 year. Changing up a little. No, forget that 5-year thing. No, go ahead.
So we actually hope to be a hub, just as Indigenous Warrior was, hosting events. Of course, the social media aspect of things. We're going to actually work on some merchandise, and then from 4 years from now, we hope to be a fully established LLC, and something that the community can actually lean on and depend on to tell their story. That's the main thing. We want to be a voice for positive Indigenous hip hop, and be a go-to entity for people to rely on for information.
And you use that word positive. That's something that's another cliche thing. Oh, positive is almost be positive. But that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Too much negative in the world. And you can do positive things and not be cliche kinds of things. You can be cool and fun and positive at the same time. And I've seen that in everything that you've done, like work-wise and advocating for these good things. So, yeah, positive can be. We need positive. I'll just leave it at that, honestly.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Although I do believe in the plant medicine, I advocate for it strongly. I've been clean and sober for 15 years. Been able to do a lot of events all over the world, including in Las Vegas, the city of sin. But we bring that positivity, we bring the prayer, and we bring the light wherever we go.
Oatmeal.
That's my daily go-to. I eat raw oatmeal every morning. That's my breakfast. I am getting up there in age. You could see my little white hairs probably.
But half gray myself,
I think it's vital. It's one of those vital components of my life. I eat oatmeal every single day.
Once I get off this month of keto to drop 40 pounds again and get reset, I might start getting into the oatmeal thing again.
Nice.
Basketball.
Comes to mind. Basketball is one of the sports that I've been able to coach over the past 30 years. I coached out in this region, Sacramento, Colusa, Glenn County, Butte County. It's something that I've utilized as a tool to help the youth that I work with, and it's something I actually enjoy as well. And there's a lot of people that aren't really aware of it, but basketball is huge in the Native American community.
Oh, nice.
There's
I did not know.
Yeah, there's a lot of tournaments happening right now, actually, all throughout Turtle Island, and I love basketball.
Me too. I'm glad you didn't have your response that be LeBron. Everyone knows that. Frisbee.
Wow. The first thing that comes to mind when I hear the word Frisbee is a game that the spirits had showed me on my first 4-day fast up on a mountain in Buena Vista. Yeah.
Colorado.
Couple things come to mind when I hear Colorado. You know, of course, our indigenous relatives that are out there representing in a good way. My bro Shimo Media is getting ready to do a big push out there in Colorado. And my new business venture, shameless plug, by the way, I'm a fully licensed life insurance agent.
I saw that recently, yes.
Every year for the past 2 years, and this year included, our big convention for Symmetry Financial is out there in Denver, Colorado.
A lot of these are tying into things in your life. This was meant to be. This wasn't really random. Pickles.
Wow, pickles. Pickles, actually, another thing that does tie into my life right now. How I was introduced to the insurance industry was through another Native American, my brother, my mentor, Marcus Williams. He actually founded a nonprofit organization called Serve Love First, and they go all throughout Indian country and throughout the United States, and they introduce pickleball to the native youth as a form of athletics, and you know, it's an amazing sport. I love pickleball, by the way.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you're gonna tap in. It's actually taking over the nation, and all over the nation is taking over a lot of tennis courts.
It's like baseball, where you throw a pickle instead of a ball. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's pickleball is actually on a tennis court. They utilize only half of the backside of the court. It's a bigger paddle and a bigger ball. They just had their big 2 years ago. They had their big pickleball tournament, and I believe they raised $1 million. Andre Agassi was part of it. John McEnroe and a couple of other legends in the tennis world.
I'll have to look up some video on it. We'll see what it looks like in action. Sacramento,
baby, hometown, born and raised. You know what I mean?
Simple enough.
A lot of death and destruction that I've seen, but a lot of love and a lot of light came out of Sacramento. And one thing I do want to say is that forever, you know, we've been supportive of many artists, including some that have lived here in Sacramento. Mac Dre is probably one of the most notorious artists who lived here in Sacramento. Keek the Sneak. You know, so we've been behind a lot of big pushes in the Northern California region, and I still feel like we're one of the most underrated communities when it comes to hip hop.
Every chat radio show episode of mine, it's underrated. I always say it. Shirt.
Boom.
And I figured you'd show your shirt.
Here it is. Here,
You
know, NorCal vibes, hella NorCal tribes, hella vibes. My company, one of the entities under the umbrella of Indigenous Warrior was Indigenous Warrior Clothing, you know, and we were one of the first companies to put t-shirts out specifically for Northern California tribes.
Nice. Nintendo.
Man,
tell me there's an indigenous Nintendo competition that goes on.
There's not, but
there needs to be.
There does need to be.
Yes.
And I would say, just as music and sports, Nintendo was probably instrumental in saving my life. You know, I grew up in Oak Park here in Sacramento, California, and if it weren't for Nintendo, you know, I probably would have been out on the block much more. And because my grandmother purchased a Nintendo game for me and my cousin in the early 80s, you know, it kept us in the house a lot. Jupiter. First thing that comes to mind are the star people. You know, we believe that our relatives, at least, we believe that we came from the Milky Way. Jupiter is part of that star system, and it reminds me of UFOs and time travel.
That was how long ago that we did that track?
We recorded that track maybe 2 years ago.
Right.
Yep, one of the latest singles that we put out under our entity. Go tap in, check it out.
Last one, Mike Tyson.
First thing that comes to mind is my little nephew, Showtime Ramon. He's been featured on a couple of my projects. He actually has a song called Mike Tyson. I believe they're close to 500,000 views on his song Mike Tyson. And he's an advocate for the medicine. He's an advocate for THC, and I believe he's one of the greatest thinkers in the world. All things Richie Ledreagle, first and foremost, right here, Mama Earth. Sweet. Tap in one time. Of course, on all social media platforms, Facebook, IG, YouTube, and then you could find me, all throughout Indian country, whether I'm MCing, performing, facilitating, or as a prayer person. And that's Richie Ledreagle. Richie, of course, Richie, Ledreagle, Ledreagle. And they can also find me on all of your, or most of your compilations that you put out in the last few years.
Been on about 4 total so far. I just released volume 14. Gotta plug myself too.
100%.
But we need to do another one. I'm working on volume 15. You're in.
Beautiful. You guys heard that?
Yeah. What if you don't end up being in? Then my reputation is shot. It's gone. No. I will make a note of that. Watch this. This is what I'm going to do. Going into my schedule. And for later today, when I get home, Rich to Cali Fire 15. That's that. Done.
Blessings.
And feel free to bring other folks on. You had Aaronessa Turner on the one song, the Smile for the one, but that was per my request. But let's work on something fresh. You pick a beat and put somebody that you've mentioned today doing the music with on.
Actually, what I'll do is I'll bring my bro from the Medicine Movement Project.
Let's do that.
Yep, and him and I will be on volume 15.
That's the one.
Blessings.
Well, it's been great having Richie Ledreagle on Break Time with DJ Loot, and we're going to get to work on that and more stuff to come. And I love everything that you've brought to the table, brought to my viewers today. Please follow and like and share and follow him on the socials, and pay attention to all of these new things in the works, because they are positive, and they're going to be it's going to be stuff that changes lives, or at least enhances lives.
That's right.
All right, we're going to get at it.
Blessings.
Time traveler, vibing with them aliens, them humans that been flipping like some spatulas. I ain't with you vampire blood sucking Draculas. Traveling through time in my mind, time traveler. I'm traveler, vibing with them aliens, them humans that been flipping like some spatulas. I ain't with you vampire blood sucking Draculas. Traveling through time in my mind, time traveler. I see the sun, the moon, the stars, I plant my feet in the dirt. UFOs, time travel, how we get here to Earth. Earth wing meant to sing since the date of my birth. And I've been catching many visions since I came here.